Exciting Basket is the second game in the series of exciting sports games that Konami released for the Famicom Disk System, and it's the first of them to get released outside of Japan. In fact, it would be released in the US only 2 months later, which makes it a perfect example of how the limitations of the Famicom Disk System were already holding back the platform in mid-1987. You're going to notice that it lacks a lot of the features that you'll find in Double Dribble, the US version. There are no speech samples. You only have your choice of 3 teams instead of 4. And most important of all, there's no close-up when you do a dramatic slam dunk. Those cutscenes in Double Dribble were one of the big selling points of the game, and they're not here in Exciting Basket. Originally, this was an arcade game titled Double Dribble. Yes, even in Japan it was called that. Presumably, Konami changed the title on the FDS version for consistent branding. In Exciting Basket, there's no season, there's no league, there's no tournament. You've got the choice of playing one game against the computer, or one game against a human opponent. You have your choice of teams, which will either be New York, Chicago, or LA, and this only affects what color uniform you're wearing. You can also choose how long you want each period to be, and select one of 3 difficulty levels. When you're ready to start, choose End. On the court, the controls vary depending on whether you have the ball or not. When you have the ball, A passes, and B will shoot. You need to hold down B for a few seconds to do your jump shot and then release when you're ready to throw. There are certain spots on the court that are more effective than others to shoot from, and learning those is part of getting good at the game. If you're ever fouled, then you get to do free throws, and this is handled by having a circle go up and down above the basket, and you hit the B button when it's really low. When you don't have control of the ball, hitting the A button will rotate through which player you're controlling, and the B button will attempt to steal the ball, or you'll jump up to block a shot if one's in the air. One of the strongest things about Exciting Basket is also a bit of a weakness. This is a proper 5-on-5 basketball game. The court's a little bit shrunk, but for the most part, there aren't a whole lot of compromises here. You have 10 players on the court running around constantly. However, the Famicom really can't display 10 players on the court simultaneously. It can't even do 6 players on the court simultaneously. And so to deal with that, you get a lot of flickering. The players in the ball will just flicker away, and this can make the action on the court kind of hard to follow sometimes. You might be trying to steal the ball and not even see the pass that sends it to the other side of the court. I wouldn't call this a game-breaking problem. It occurs because Konami is trying to keep the action as fast-paced as possible, and they really succeeded there. Let's just call this one a technological limitation, rather than an active gameplay flaw. Beyond that, you play 4 periods, there's a halftime show, and then when it's all over, you get a little screen telling you if you've won or lost. Nothing more to it than that. Exciting Basket wasn't wildly popular in Japan, but then it really was made for the US market. Maybe it's because in 1987, basketball really didn't have a huge following in Japan. Though it does get a bit of a boost in the 90s. Despite that, the people who did play it seem to like it, which really isn't that much of a surprise. This is a pretty solid basketball game. Now that said, I'd play Double Dribble on the NES before I played Exciting Basket on the FDS. It's just a better playing package with more features. But if that wasn't an option for you, this is pretty good. While the competition is admittedly pretty weak, this is the best basketball game you could play through your Famicom.